video at a weird time. Anyway, so hello, how's everyone doing? A few things that I had to talk about today, and it's kind of funny because I have things that are on my mind a lot that I just don't talk about, and I'm like, why don't you, you can't talk about everything, but I'm like, well, why don't you just talk about some of it and just see how it goes? So we'll start there. It's like a little embarrassing. My nose, okay. Right now it looks good. Like right now, it sounds so funny. It sounds like cringy, like, oh, my nose looks good right now. Like, I don't know, but it's true. Like, again, this is my brain, how I think. Right now, my nose looks good. But lately, over the past like 2 or 3 months, my nose has been kind of driving me crazy. Because I had which this is expected, all right, I had a rhinoplasty. It's been not a year ago. It's been not quite a year ago. It was a year ago in June, or it will be a year ago in June. And this is my second one, a revision rhinoplasty. So this one might take a little bit longer to heal. And before I go further, one thing I really feel like I need to establish is, after you get a rhinoplasty, and I assume that this is similar with other plastic surgeries or probably other surgeries in general, it takes a full year, give or take, but I would say pretty much a full year for your body to heal and be what it's finally going to be. Like, the initial swelling will go down, the initial bruising will go down, you'll look normal. But if you've ever had, particularly a rhinoplasty before, if you've ever had a rhinoplasty before, you know that about the following year, your nose doesn't feel like it's as much a part of your body as the rest of your body. But it does eventually come back. It just takes a good year for it to get like that. And I'm facing a lot of swelling right now, or I shouldn't say a lot of swelling, I'm facing swelling, which, again, this is expected. This is kind of like an up and down thing. People don't usually realize this about getting a nose job. They think that they go in, they get the bandages off, and they're like, oh man, this is awesome, I look good. It's like, I used to watch this show called, like, The Swan, I think it was. So I just wanted to take a minute to clarify, because I don't know if I made it clear enough in the video when I was filming, but as I was filming this video, I was actually pretty much like 100% happy with the way that my nose looked in this video, because I took the steps that I will be talking about later in this video. But this is probably how my nose is going to end up looking once all the swelling goes down, and I am very happy about that. It's just, I had been having trouble getting my nose to have this same appearance prior to me filming this video. But again, I'm 100% happy with how my nose looks in this video. So I just wanted to clarify that standpoint. When I was in high school, and actually it was a really cool show, they took people and it's like so sunny I can't even think. They took people and they gave them like plastic surgery makeovers. I think they did more than just that. I'm sure they like counseled them or something like that. I don't know, but they gave them, they fixed their nose, they fixed their teeth, they fixed, if it was a woman, they would fix their, their chest or whatnot. I mean, guys had work done on their bodies too. Like, people had lipo, people like, they really, I hate how the doors automatically unlock. I'm like, why? It's so stupid. Anyway, and I remember it's like the big reveal and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you look amazing. And the person's like, I look amazing. It's not quite like that with a rhinoplasty. Again, it takes a full year for you to heal, for you to truly get your final result. And I really liked my nose. Okay. I initially got the bandages off. When you initially get the bandages off, I mean, you're swollen. You just were, cut open and lifted open within a week ago. Right. And, it's like you literally had the skin, your nose like cut here and then pulled up, like the skin's, pulled up they're working on your cartilage, they're breaking your bone. They didn't have to break, they broke my bone with my first surgery, but with my second one that I just got less than a year ago, you know, it was, I didn't need the bone broken again. My bone's actually pretty good. Like, I'm really happy with that. But anyway, then they put it back down. It takes a while. Everything's connected. Like, the skin's not dead. You know, obviously my nose isn't like turning blue and falling off. I mean, that might happen sometimes if someone has a extreme case or something like that. But, you know, mine's fine, obviously. But it still takes a while for all the blood flow to get connected 100% like it was before. And I remember when they take the cast off, once they take it off, you start to swell. So I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like Squidward. I got home and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, it was swollen. And you kind of know that, but secretly you hope that you're just going to love it right off the bat. But anyway, the initial swelling did go down, and then I'm like, okay, I felt, you know, I know I had a good nose job. Like, this is, you know, the fact that my nose is driving me crazy has nothing to do with my doctor. Like, my doctor is awesome. Like, I would so totally recommend my plastic surgeon to anyone, 110%. He is awesome. He is like, I'm laughing because I know some people are gonna cringe. Some people will appreciate this, but some people are cringe. But I don't need to stop worrying about people that are gonna cringe. But like, he is like the designer. Like, you know, like, if a nose job was a doctor was a, you know, we're like designers, he would be like Louis Vuitton or Hermes or something like that. He's awesome, and he does a really good job on noses. He has an eye for it. Some surgeons don't. Some surgeons really don't. Like, my very first surgeon I went to, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but he liked things to look natural. And I'm okay with things looking natural. You want things to look natural. You know, I think my nose now, you know, I've had it done. So if someone wants to come against me, like, oh, it doesn't look natural. So I felt the need to come on and clarify again, because I think the way I said it in the video came across not in the way that I actually meant it. I do think that I've had a natural looking nose job. The point that I was making is the fact that I've talked about it, it kind of gives people an out or an opportunity to say, oh, it doesn't look natural, just because they know I've had it done. But I do feel that my surgery has a very natural look, and I am very happy with the outcome. But, you know, I'm happy with the way that it looks. But sometimes when people want things to look natural, that means they leave flaws in them. And I'm like, well, the reason I'm getting it done is because I don't want a flaw. I want the flaw taken out. Like, there's certain flaws, just generally speaking, there's certain flaws that don't bother me. Like, there's certain flaws that I'm okay with, you know, but most flaws I hate. Like, I don't like a bulbous tip on a nose. I hate it. I hate it. I don't mind like a hook nose sometimes. I mean, I guess it depends on the person and how it fits their face. Maybe there's some people who, you know, got it done and look, I don't know, but like, I don't mind that, but I don't like a bulbous tip on a nose. But then if someone has, this is the other thing too, if, you know, you're like looking like, oh gosh, you know, if you think your nose is like bulbous on the tip or whatnot, you might have the kind of face that can balance it out. Like, I was looking at this, there's this one model who I follow on Instagram, and I was looking at his nose. I look at everyone's nose. I was looking at his nose, and I'm like, man, like, the tip of his nose is a little, like, if you really look at it, it's like it's like not bulbous. Like, I'm not saying he has a bulbous nose. I mean, he looks good. Like, he's a 10 out of 10. There's nothing wrong with him. He's literally I mean, no one's perfect, but he's like perfect. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. Like, he's like one of the ideal versions of how to look, you know. But when I was looking at his nose, I'm like, well, how can his nose be a little bit bigger on the tip and not, and he's still super like aesthetically pleasing? And it's because the rest of his face, it harmonizes with the rest of his face, and certain faces need certain things. And on me, my face cannot handle a bulbous tip on a nose. I cannot express how much I hate that on me. Like, some other people too, like, I'm not the only one who can't handle that, but some faces can handle a little bit more, some faces can't, and I look horrible, you know, if the tip of the nose is too big. Anyway, so the swelling starts to go down, but this is the thing, the tip of the nose is the last thing. This is actually a good segue. The tip of the nose is the last thing to is the last place that the swelling goes down. Like, think of it like this. If you have a puddle of water, like it just rained, there's like a puddle of water. If you take, which don't do this because this can be like fire hazard, or like, I don't know, I don't have to get a disclaimer for anything. But if someone took like a fan and they dried, you know, they dried the puddle, the very last place that the puddle is going to dry is in the middle of the puddle. And it's kind of like that with the tip of your nose. Like, that's the very last place. The swelling's going to start to go down, like more up here, like this is going to go down, but then the tip, it's going to be the last place to hold on to that, you know, remainder of the swelling and whatnot. So when my initial swelling went down, my nose was really full looking, like it was full up here, and I actually really like the way that it looks. Like, my nose was bigger with the swelling than it is right now, but I'm like, I really liked the way that it looked. And I mean, there's different stages, you know, just even within the weeks or whatnot. Some stages I liked a little bit better than others, but I didn't mind like the fullness of it, because in comparison, the tip was like not bulbous. But as it went down, and in these last, you know, few months before I hit the year mark, which my swelling, this is my second one, so my swelling may even extend into a little bit over a year. You know, that's not necessarily uncommon. I'm getting there. It's going to take time, and I knew that going in, and I know that now. But the tip is the last thing to hang on to the swelling. So when this up here starts to get normal, like when this up here starts to get normal, and then the tip is swollen, this tip is going to look bigger, and that is like my nemesis. My face can't handle that. I can't handle that. I don't want that. Makes me want to do like Phantom of the Opera and walk around with like a mask on or whatnot, which I am getting some work done to this side of my face. I'm kind of in the process of getting it done now, actually, but I'll maybe talk about that. Maybe I'll talk about that later in this video, or maybe I'll save it for another video or whatnot. But anyway, everyone's face is uneven, but you know, you want your face to be as symmetrical as possible, and this side of my face is not, this side of my face, which this is why I film like this, does not have the bone structure that this side of my face has. I mean, if you're, no one's does. Like, I'm not like, you know, totally, you know, like, you know, I'm not like totally a one-off case or anything like that. Like, but I really don't appreciate how this side of my face doesn't have the same strength of bone structure that this side has. I'm trying to think of like the best way to explain it, but anyway, that's all I got right now. So more about that. But anyway, one thing that I can do to make my nose look better, though, which it's kind of a temporary fix, but I think it does help overall aid in the healing process, is I can massage in. Like, I can massage, and I kind of know how to do it because I've kind of played around with like doing it a few different ways, but I'm massaging this right here, like where the swelling is, and it will temporarily reduce the swelling. And then, like, if I do that at night and then I wake up in the morning, you know, it kind of, once you're, you know, if you're warm and sweating or whatnot, then it, you know, kind of swells back up or whatnot. Which it's normal for, even if you didn't have a nose job, like, you know, your fingers swell, your nose swells, so that's normal. But my hope and expectation is that, you know, once the swelling does fully go down, I kind of have an idea of how my nose should look, like kind of what me and my doctor have talked about, and I can see it getting there. I can see my nose getting there. I'm trying to be, like, my doctor's awesome. I have so much faith in my doctor, and I'm trying to be very, it's so easy to like put all your eggs in one basket, and I don't want to be disappointed, because I mean, even if the doctor did everything great, like, my body could heal. Don't even put that out there. I don't even want to put that out there. It's gonna be good. Like, it's gonna be good. If I have to get another one, I will. Like, if I have to get another nose job, I will do it. I will die on my grave if that's what it takes in order for me to get my nose looking right. Like, and that's not uncommon. I mean, not dying on your grave with a nose job, but that's not uncommon for people who get rhinoplasties to have to go back and get several, even like 3 or more. Like, I think Lori Hill, who's someone I follow on YouTube, I like her a lot. She's had some, what's the right word? Extreme case. Like, I feel so, I mean, her nose looks awesome. Like, she has it sounds funny when I say it, but it's true. Like her nose, she has a good looking nose. Like her nose looks really good now. But she has, I mean, if you listen to her story time of what she has had to go through to get her nose now, like she's had multiple surgeries and now she's in a good place. But then even after she had in a good place, she had like necrosis of the, I think it was of the tip of her nose because of a fat injection, I think it was. Anyway, I don't want to like regurgitate, you know, all of her stuff that she talks about on her channel. But my point is that it takes, people think you get a nose job and it's just one and done. And, you know, that if that could be the case, then great. Maybe for some people that is the case, but it's not uncommon for people to have to go back and get more. But I truly do feel pretty confident. I feel like 90% confident that this nose job is going to be able to be my final one. I have a standard that I have for myself, and I don't have to be perfect, but I have to be pretty close to perfect. I have to be like, I mean, in my eyes, you might look at me and not like what you see at all, but I'm talking about me in my eyes, in my judgment, but I have to be like 90%. I have to be like 90% there, because I think that when someone chases perfection, I think if someone chases perfection, it's like they're going to fall off the cliff. You know, I feel like if perfection is like this peak, if you know, this is imperfection and then this is perfection, you know, this side is flawed. Perfection is like the peak. It's like that perfect golden ratio. If you can get really close to it, because sometimes if you try to push too much, you do something and you can end up looking crazy. So I feel pretty comfortable with where I am with what my goal is, you know, with what I want for myself. But anyway, so yeah, my also this angle's pretty my go-to angle, I guess I could say, because even if my nose is swollen, if I can sit at just the right angle, like even when I'm on like Zoom calls or whatever, I always put my monitor, or I always put my webcam would be like in front of me, but I always put the screen that I'm looking of like up here, so that way I'm like looking this way, and that I'm not looking like, you know, that I'm not like looking this way or like, I don't know, like looking straight on or whatnot. I'm always kind of like looking up like this, which I don't want to have to do that. Which is kind of one of the reasons why I'm getting this done to some work done to this side of my face. Not for like exclusively for looking good on a webcam or whatnot, but I'm getting some work done on this side, which anyway. The other thing I wanted to talk about too, I'm going to go ahead and switch gears here, is kind of an unpopular opinion. I don't think it's like offensive. It's not, I mean, people get offended by anything, but it's not like an offensive, unpopular opinion. But one thing I want to talk about is carbs. I have been eating carbs and I have been enjoying carbs, and they make me feel like so good. And for a while, I wasn't like all out cutting out carbs, but I was leaning more towards like a ketogenic type of diet. And I would eat a lot of meals that, you know, just had very low carbs. And I was feeling so, it took me a minute to put two and two together that, okay, maybe this impacts that, like, duh. But and I'm not saying that a ketogenic diet is bad. There's a few people I watch who are like, one woman who I watch, she's carnivore. Like, she's like hardcore carnivore. She had digestive issues and she wasn't expecting to be carnivore. She just knew that meat was the only thing that, you know, she ate meat and she felt good afterwards, and other foods she seemed to have problems with. So she tried to reintroduce other foods, but she faced problems. But anyway, so I think carnivore diet is awesome, but, you know, maybe different people's blood types and different people's bodies have different needs. So I was kind of, you know, it's trendy right now too. It's been trending. I was kind of like leaning towards that, like doing the keto carnivore thing or whatnot, lightly, loosely. But I was feeling like very lethargic. We'll just kind of put it like that. I was just feeling very lethargic. I was having trouble focusing. I was having trouble getting things done. And I really wasn't feeling productive. And I really had to push myself. It felt like, you ever have a dream where you are trying to run and you can't run? You can get there, but you're going so slow and it's taking so much energy to get so little ahead that you're practically you're staying in the same place practically. that's kind of how it felt like with productivity. I felt like there were things that I needed to do, things that I needed to get done, but I was having trouble focusing, and I was really having to exert a lot of energy to do things. I'm like, it shouldn't be taking this much energy for me to get things done. And I kind of had experience feeling like that a few times, and I thought, what is going on? And I don't know if I thought of this or if I just did it or whatnot. I think something made me think of it, but I started eating more carbs, and I feel so much better. I'm not talking like a ton. Like, I'm talking, okay, for lunch, I would maybe have 4 eggs, like 3 to 4 eggs, just, that's it. 3 to 4 eggs with butter. Maybe I would put some hot sauce on, have my iced coffee and whatnot, and that would be my lunch. And I would eat that for, every day, or, a few days in a row or whatnot, and I would do that. And then, like, what I've been doing is I've been eating, like today I think I had 3 eggs, and then I had 2 slices of bread, and I feel awesome. Yesterday I made a sandwich for lunch. I had 2, and I toasted the bread, and I even toasted it on my sandwich. I had 2 slices of bread, and I had a sausage patty and 1 egg, like sausage patty on the bread, an egg, and then cheese and mayo, so just a sandwich. I felt awesome. Yesterday. I'm like, yeah, I felt so productive, and I'm kind of feeling back like that now that I've introduced more carbs back into my diet. And I think it's good that I realized that, because it's so easy to get on board with what someone else is doing and what works for them, because you see these very credentialed people having undeniable results, thriving on certain diets or whatnot, and you think, if that's good for them, it's good for me. So you try to do it, and then if you start to feel kind of funny, you think, oh, you think, oh, maybe it's something else, or maybe I need to press into this diet even harder. But then I'm like, no. So I kind of wanted to put that out there, that unpopular opinion, that I think hopefully my head doesn't have a mark on it from the hat. Carbs make me feel really good, just like a couple slices of bread. And I've really been more into eating a well-balanced diet lately. Like, I'm not doing all vegan or all raw vegan, or, obviously like all carnivore or all keto. I'm not really cutting out anything. The only thing that I'm cutting out, or at least cutting back on, is the processed sugars, processed foods, like cookies and chips and stuff like that. And I still will eat it, but I don't eat it as much, and like soda and stuff like that. I mean, you say you're not going to eat it, it's going to make you go out and, want to buy some or whatnot. But I've been kind of like focusing on other things, like focusing on more whole foods, just more clean eating, at least in my mind. You know what clean eating is? And maybe for me, part of clean eating is, I get Dave's bread, which I'm almost out of. I have 2 different kinds of his bread, and I'm almost out, and I need to go to the store and get more. But, like, I might have a slice or 2 of Dave's bread with some butter on it, like some butter, because I don't think butter is the devil anymore. I don't think it's like the worst thing. That is one thing that I kind of picked up from, this whole little keto journey that I was kind of on. I say that loosely, keto journey, but, anyway, I feel good, and I'm still watching my calorie intake. I'm still watching, like, what I'm eating. Sometimes it's easy when you get on the path of eating a certain lifestyle, you can kind of throw the calorie counting out the window, but that is kind of a dangerous thing to do, because then you start to gain weight and you're like, oh, why am I gaining weight? I'm eating, good foods. But okay, if you eat too much of the good foods, you're going to gain weight. It's kind of like, duh, but you kind of want to believe. I remember I used to watch, which I don't know, maybe with fruits and vegetables this is different, but I used to watch Freely, the banana girl, like years ago, like in 2015 or something like that, even before and after. And I mean, she ate this massive amount of, raw fruits and vegetables, and I mean, she looked great. You could not say that she was in bad shape physically. Like, she looked awesome, she was active, and she was getting the results, and she was eating so much food but not gaining weight. And I'm like, okay, you can't, the proof is in the pudding. You can't, or the proof is, I shouldn't say pudding if it was raw vegan, the proof is in the Datorade. But anyway, so I'm like, but you can overdo it on that stuff too, which is what I found. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this here, and I wanted to show you this cologne that I like too. It looks like I have like a smoking, like I don't smoke anything at all. I don't know, some people look at me and they want to judge a book by its cover or whatnot and assume, but no, I don't smoke anything. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't, like other stuff or whatever. I'm not into it. It's just, I don't do it. I've never done it. I've never, like, it's not been something that I've been really even curious to try. But anyway, it looks like I'm like, have like a vape or something like that, or like a lighter. I don't even know. But no, this is cologne. And this is my second time getting this kind. They usually don't let you get on Scentbird. They usually don't let you get the same kind twice unless it's been 6 months or whatever. But one of my bottles on one of my orders was broken, and they were out of the kind that they had sent, that I had requested originally. And so I said, well, can you just give me, this one again? And they did. So anyway, maybe it's like a special thing. But this is, I'm not even telling you what it is. This is by Sanctuary, and it is called North Atlantic Right Whale, like right and left. North Atlantic Right Whale. And it was funny because I wore this jacket yesterday when I went out to go for a walk, and I had sprayed it all over me yesterday. And like today when I was like, getting ready to go out like I am now, I put this jacket on. It smelled so good. It's just so good. It reminds me of a scent from my childhood, which is honestly why I think I like it so much, because it takes me back to kind of a certain time in my life. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is that reminds me of. I probably had some kind of cologne, or someone gifted me with some kind of cologne or something. I'm like breathing in it. That had a similar fragrance to this, way back when. I can't think of it exactly, but I can kind of loosely remember the time. I'm gonna say like it was like 6th or 7th grade. And I don't know, I like things that kind of take me back. And anyway, so this kind of takes me back. And aside from that, it's an awesome smell. So anyway, I'm gonna spray a little bit more. I'm gonna spray it after I turn the camera off, because I'm gonna like breathe it in or whatnot. So yeah, so thank you for listening to me about my nose job stuff. And this is just how it is when it's just how it goes. It's going to take a year for your nose to fully settle. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for it to fully settle. It's not totally settled now, and while it's settling, some areas are going to be settled, some other areas are going to be unsettled, and the settled areas are going to make the unsettled areas look bigger, because it's almost looks more in unison if it's all unsettled uniformly versus if some of it's settled and some of it's unsettled. That's actually a pretty good way to explain it, I think, of at the end of the video. But anyway, all right, thank you guys for watching, and I will look forward to chatting with you guys in my next video. All right, until then.